that led to really revenge, led to they don't believe on they believe that they can get what they want by their hands. So there is political challenge, and there is a religion challenge. There is uh, lack of education, lack of good governance, human rights, and social media also in some ways are not doing the right job. Where easy, today the young people, they've been very easy target by those ideological groups. And as we see, I mean, ISIS recruiting young people from Europe, France, UK, Europe, and not only from the Arab world. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what's happening and how we stop this? So we need a collective, international collective efforts, which include, as I mentioned, not only governments, but others.
Yes, please.
Yes, Curtis Ellis, thank you very much for the briefing. You talk about, and everyone's talking about getting to the root causes of what's attracting the young people and the radicalization. We heard in Washington a spokeswoman for the State Department talking about we need jobs. You know, she's been ridiculed as saying jobs for the jihadis. Yet, as you point out, it's very often middle-class people or people that seem to have a little extra time and a little extra money on their hands that are being attracted to this, and which speak to the ideology. I'm wondering what you think if this doesn't come down to a fact that young people are always looking for something to be part of something larger, and they're looking for the meaning of life, and they're looking for an absolute truth. And if all we can afford them is access to fast food and designer jeans, aren't we in a losing position to win if we're up against people who are offering some kind of spiritual universe? Does that not need to be, don't we need to be addressing that root cause, the search for something larger and a larger meaning?
Root causes, it's today is the most important if we want to find a solution. For us in the alliance, we include this on our strategy, on our strategy to counter terrorism. But you see, marginalization is one. Many young people, even in rich society, still there is something missing for them. They want to find their identity. They want their voices to be heard loud. They want, so that's what we see today, many young people from the West going to join ISIS and other groups to find themselves on well, even if they are killing and doing, and this is, I think, where when the alliance, when this initiative came from the Prime Minister of Spain in 2001, because of one reason, the attack in New York City. And when he came, I remember I was representing Qatar and the United Nations. I was the ambassador. And he said, well, what's happened in New York, this is going to be very dangerous for our future. If we talk about clash of civilization, This is the beginning. The guy was very wise. I mean, many people said, well, he's dreaming. There's only a group of مرحبين, terrorist group. They came because as a revenge or something. But that's why, and I remember when he offered the UN that the UN should be responsible for the future clash or conflicts coming from culture, coming from religion, coming from race, different migration. So the UN welcomed the idea and then worked hard to create the alliance, to focus, as you know, on 4 pillars: education, youth, migration, and media. And that was the beginning of year 2000. And after 14, 13 years, exactly we see what the Prime Minister of Spain was worried about, you see. And today, migration also is a very crucial, very important and dangerous at the same time. And media. Even if United States are trying to challenge ISIS, how to challenge them with social media. You are not facing just terrorist group. You're facing really a combination of groups. And those guys, if we don't do anything to stop them, to try to get rid of why they are here, we will face what the Prime Minister of Spain was worried about, clash of civilization.
Thank you. Oh, I'll take 2 more questions. I'll first Mr. Go Kamushida from NHK, and then Matthew Lee.
Thank you very much. My question is rather something classic. After this incident in Paris of Charlie Hebdo, there was a huge mobilization of people supporting the freedom of speech. Sorry, yeah. So after what happened in Charlie Hebdo, there was a huge mobilization of the people in the street in Paris supporting the freedom of speech, as we all saw. But on the week after, when Charlie Hebdo issued a new edition with a picture, with a caricature of Prophet Muhammad, that triggered a new reaction on the ground. A huge anger in the Muslim world. So could you give us your view, how you define again the freedom of speech and how you can distinguish between, I mean, the free speech from the hate speech? Thank you.
Yeah. If we talk about our work, we already have programs in teaching the young journalists. We create the
training.
we have training, and then we have the
Capacity building.
capacity building, and then the news.
A glossary
For media coverage. Yeah.
Migration.
And migration, because migration today, as I said, is a very important, but it's also can be dangerous, and we have to deal with that. I said earlier, I have no problem with
Freedom of expression.
no, with the freedom of expression, freedom of speech, but without insulting and without creating hatred and insulting other religion or other culture. And even on the Security Council resolution relate to that, the one which been adopted in September. So when we saw the whole world came together in Paris and to work. I mean, to support that, to be against what's happened. I think it was great. But on the other hand, 1 week later, as you mentioned, the newspaper again. So are we here try to solve or to? So we have to be responsible if we want to prevent. Otherwise, we're going to see this not only in Europe, everywhere. You know, this is very easy to use that in creating conflicts or problems or in any country or in any society or insulting any religion. That's easy to create a really big problem. So we have responsibility. We have to promote respect. We have to promote not only in the UN, but even in schools and universities. They have to look at the curriculum again and how we can promote cultural of peace, respect, dialogue. Sometimes dialogue is missing, and I mean, when we saw those people who tried when they killed they killed Christian, they killed Muslims, they killed Jews. As I said, there is no for terrorist group there is no religion. It's a disease that we have to work hard to eliminate it. Thank you.
Can I just ask a very quick follow-up? I know Mr. Lee will ask us a question, but on that, in terms of responsibility and expression, free expression, and that balance, do you favor any legislative restraints or at the international level, a defamation of religions resolution that has been proposed over the years, or are you only looking at kind of self-restraint and ethics of journalists in terms of their own behavior?
No, I mean, I'm not going to ask to come up with the new legislation. It's already there in different resolutions and Security Council and General Assembly, European Union, everywhere. I think we have to work together and be responsible. Just when I know they said freedom of speech, this is it's a great. I respect that, but with responsibility not to insult others and not to respect other culture or religion. This is very important. But this is easy. Now you want to create a war problem, just use the media to insult Prophet Muhammad or any religion, and you will see and the ground what's going to happen, you know.
Matthew?
Sure, thanks a lot. I'm sorry to be late. There's a Security Council meeting, but I was listening to you talk about the event in Washington. So I wanted to ask you, there was some criticism, at least by some quarters, that it wasn't part of the UN system, and two, there are also some countries, including not necessarily in the Middle East or the region, that thought it was because it was organized by the US, it wasn't as inclusive as it could be. So I'm wondering, do you see the UN event as trying to make all 193 involved? And I wanted to also ask you about sort of the UN role. And I just want to get this one question out, because there's an article in today's Wall Street Journal, which is getting a lot of play, about Qatar. And I think maybe it's tied to the emir visiting Washington. I'm not sure. In any case, the sort of tagline from it is that a cousin of the current foreign minister drove to Lebanon in 2012 and delivered money to al-Nusra fighters. And there's a denial by the government. But I guess what I want to say is, what's the relationship between countries that want to see a change in Syria and see fighters against Assad as fighting for something just, and the listing of al-Nusra as a terrorist organization? Do you see, what do you make of this story? And I know you're no longer the ambassador of Qatar, but you may be aware of this story, and I wanted to ask you about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not here to defend this country or that country, or I'm talking about this is today. It's a global issue. I mean, when the President Obama called for this meeting, I think it's a great initiative. We see many great initiatives around the world working with the UN. Yeah, the Secretary General in his remarks, even he mentioned about because we are working together, himself, myself, and the BGA, and addressing this issue in the General Assembly very soon. It's a global issue. Today, it's not hurting this region or that country. It's going to hurt all of us, and I don't want to see I'm sure you don't want to see your children or my children walk in the street and something happen, or someone will influence their brain to we want them to be a good citizen. And the whole world, the whole young people in the world, they deserve the same. But there's something wrong and something missing, and that's require I think, the international community, United Nations, and all governments and countries to work collectively with this.
Well, I would just like to add or elaborate on what the High Representative has just mentioned when we were talking about the issue of youth and recruitment of young people across the globe in terrorist groups, and why this is very they are the main victims and they are the main targets. That's why the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations early on has been focusing on youth in particular, whether this is through concrete projects that provides them with seed funding for their projects, or providing them with training and workshop opportunities, or providing them with intercultural exchange programs where they can see both sides of the world, whether we're talking about the West and the East. So we have a number of programs, and as His Excellency has just mentioned, you can go to our website where we have more elaboration about all these programs: the fellowship program, the Intercultural Innovation Award, the Intercultural Leaders, the Media and Information Literacy, the Peace App, Plural Plus, Summer School, and the Youth Solidarity Fund, and the Entrepreneurs for Social Change. And please feel free to ask me any questions about these projects if you are interested in writing a story or you need more information about it. Before we wrap it up, as I have circulated last week on the 18th of February, the press statement that was released by Mr. Nasser al-Nasser on the new and emerging ideological threats of the 21st century, the need for a global reconciliation. And I have copies here, just in case you need a hard copy or you have not received for any reason the circulation of the press release. I would like to thank you all. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Ambassador Tariq. And we hope that we see you all again pretty soon. Thank you.
And I would like to welcome you any time to come and visit us and talk. We'll be very happy to share with you also what we are planning to do in the near future. Thank you so much.
أنا بعتها circulation لكل الميديا.